From cringeworthy designs to just plain bizarre concepts, here are the most awkward LEGO sets that will make you go bananas. Let's kick things off with LEGO Fabuland. Imagine a world where animals walk on two legs and live in houses, but not in a cute Disney way, in a way that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Released in the late 70s and 80s, Fabuland featured anthropomorphic animal characters with oddly human expressions. These sets were meant for younger kids, but the designs are, let's just say, unique. You've got a pig driving a car, a crocodile running a cafe, and a dog who looks like he's seen some things. It's like they took the cast of a fever dream and decided to make them into toys. Fabuland sets typically contain 20 to 50 pieces featuring large molded animal figures and simple buildings. The sets aimed to bridge the gap between Duplo and regular LEGO, but ended up creating a bizarre and slightly unsettling world. Next up, we have LEGO Scala. This was LEGO's attempt at entering the dollhouse market in the late 90s, but instead of sticking with the brick system we all love, they went with, well, whatever this is. Scala sets included human-like dolls with real hair and outfits. Yes, LEGO made dolls with actual hair. The problem was these sets didn't mesh well with regular LEGO bricks. The dolls were too big and looked out of place next to minifigures. It's like they wanted to compete with Barbie but ended up making something that looked like a rejected soap opera cast. Scala sets usually had around 100 to 200 pieces and included various accessories like clothes, shoes, and furniture. The human figures were significantly larger than typical LEGO minifigures, leading to a disconnect with the brand's core products. Oh boy, LEGO Galador. Released in 2002, this line was based on a TV show that nobody remembers, and for good reason. The sets featured action figures with interchangeable limbs and body parts, which sounds cool until you see them. They look like they were designed by someone who's never seen a human before. These figures were clunky, awkward, and downright creepy. The show was supposed to be the next big thing, but it flopped hard, and the toys followed suit. It's like LEGO tried to make their own Power Rangers, but ended up with something that belongs in a toy horror museum. Galador sets typically included 30 to 100 pieces, focusing on the action figures and their accessories. The figures' bizarre designs and the show's poor reception led to the line's quick demise. Meet Jackstone, LEGO's attempt at creating a superhero for young kids in the early 2000s. These sets were supposed to be easy to build, but they were so simplified that they felt more like baby toys. The characters had weird proportions and expressions that made them look constantly surprised. Jackstone was supposed to save the day, but instead he just confused everyone. The builds were basic, the stories were bland, and the characters looked like they'd been stretched out on a medieval rack. It's like LEGO decided to take a break from being awesome and just phoned it in. Jackstone sets usually had around 20 to 50 pieces and featured large, specialized parts that made building quick but uninteresting. The line aimed to simplify the building process but ended up alienating both kids and adult fans. Ever heard of LEGO Znap? Probably not, and there's a reason for that. Released in the late 90s, Znap was LEGO's answer to Kinects. The sets featured beams and connectors that snapped together, but the designs were clunky and the builds were fragile. It was like playing with a knockoff LEGO set. Znap was supposed to offer a different building experience, but it just ended up being a frustrating mess. The pieces didn't integrate well with regular LEGO bricks, and the sets lacked the charm and creativity that make LEGO so special. It's like they took all the fun parts of LEGO and threw them out the window. Znap sets typically included 50 to 200 pieces, focusing on constructing mechanical structures. The line failed to capture the appeal of traditional LEGO sets, leading to its short lifespan. LEGO Clicket, anyone? This early 2000s line was all about making your own jewelry and accessories. Sounds fun, right? Except the pieces were tiny, flimsy, and often ended up scattered everywhere. Plus, they didn't really feel like LEGO at all. Clicket was LEGO's attempt to appeal to a younger, fashion-conscious crowd, but it missed the mark. The sets were more about clipping things together than building, and the pieces were easy to lose. It's like LEGO decided to make a line of products that your vacuum cleaner would love. Clicket sets usually contained 50 to 100 pieces, including charms, beads, and connectors. The focus on accessory creation over traditional building made them an odd fit within the LEGO product lineup. LEGO Video, a more recent addition, tried to blend building with augmented reality and music. The idea was to create music videos using special minifigures and your phone. Sounds innovative, but in practice, it was a bit of a mess. Video was meant to be a creative explosion, but the app was glitchy, the sets were overpriced, and the whole concept felt forced. It's like LEGO wanted to cash in on TikTok trends but forgot to make it fun. Instead, we got a line of sets that felt more like a gimmick than a genuine building experience. Video sets typically included around 100 pieces, focusing on minifigures, theme stages, and AR capabilities. The line struggled due to high prices and technical issues with the accompanying app. Next, we have LEGO Belleville, the fairy tale themed line from the late 90s and early 2000s. These sets featured large, detailed figures and pastel-colored pieces. Sounds whimsical, but the execution was awkward at best. Belleville sets looked more like something you'd find in a discount store than a LEGO product. The figures were too big, the pieces didn't fit well with regular LEGO bricks, and the overall aesthetic was, well, let's just say it wasn't for everyone. It's like LEGO tried to create a fairy tale and ended up with a fantasy flop. Belleville sets generally had 100 to 200 pieces and included large, detailed figures along with themed accessories. The line's departure from traditional LEGO aesthetics and build styles contributed to its lukewarm reception. Let's talk about LEGO Bionicle Stars, the supposed grand finale of the beloved Bionicle series in 2010. Fans expected an epic send-off, but instead they got tiny, simplified versions of their favorite characters. Talk about a letdown. The Bionicle Stars sets felt like a rushed, last-minute cash grab. The builds were simplistic, the pieces were few, and the nostalgia factor couldn't save them from feeling cheap. It's like LEGO decided to end one of their most iconic lines with a whimper instead of a bang. Bionicle Stars sets typically contained around 20 to 30 pieces, focusing on simplified versions of key characters. The line's underwhelming final sets left many fans disappointed. Remember the Lone Ranger movie? Yeah, me neither. But LEGO thought it was a great idea to make a whole line of sets based on this forgettable film. The sets were well designed, but the movie's flop meant these toys went unnoticed. The Lone Ranger sets had some cool Western themes, but they were tied to a movie nobody cared about. It's like showing up to a fancy dress party in an amazing costume only to realize you're the only one who dressed up. Awkward. These sets typically included 200 to 700 pieces, featuring detailed Western-themed builds and minifigures. Despite their quality, the sets suffered due to the poor reception of the movie they were based on. LEGO Knights Kingdom 2 was an attempt to make medieval knights cool again, but they ended up looking like cartoon characters. Released in the mid-2000s, these sets featured knights with exaggerated features and bright, clashing colors. The original castle theme was all about realistic, gritty medieval battles. Knights Kingdom 2? Not so much. It's like they took the classic knight and turned him into a Saturday morning cartoon character. The result? Not exactly legendary. Knights Kingdom 2 sets usually had 100 to 300 pieces and focused on character-based builds. The cartoonish style and simplified designs were a stark contrast to the more realistic castle sets. Fudge Powers was supposed to be LEGO's next big hero. They even made a direct-to-DVD movie to promote him. The sets, however, were anything but memorable. They were generic, uninspired, and felt like they were cobbled together from leftover parts. Fudge Powers had the potential to be a new iconic character, but the sets were so boring that even the movie couldn't save them. It's like they all put their effort into the character's backstory and forgot to make the toys interesting. Fudge Powers sets typically included 100 to 300 pieces and featured simple builds with minimal unique elements. The sets failed to make a lasting impact despite the promotional movie. Back to video, specifically the beatboxes. These were little plastic cases that came with minifigures and some extra pieces. The idea was to use them with the video app to make music videos, but the price was absurd for what you got. Each beatbox cost more than a decent-sized set and offered very little in terms of building experience. It's like LEGO decided to charge premium prices for something that looked like a Happy Meal toy. Talk about awkward. Beatboxes included around 70 pieces, focusing on the minifigure and AR capabilities. The high price and limited play value made them a tough sell for many fans. LEGO Fusion was an ambitious project that combined physical building with digital gaming. Sounds cool, right? Except the execution was awkward. You build simple structures and then scan them into a game. The problem? The builds were too basic and the game was pretty boring. Fusion had the potential to be revolutionary, but it felt more like a gimmick. The scanning process was clunky and the digital experience didn't match the fun of real-world building. It's like LEGO tried to jump on the digital bandwagon and ended up falling off. Fusion sets typically included 200 to 300 pieces, focusing on integrating physical builds with a mobile game. The concept failed to capture the engagements and excitement of traditional LEGO sets. Finally, we have LEGO Minions. Don't get me wrong, the Minions are popular, but the LEGO sets, not so much. Released to coincide with the Minions: The Rise of Gru movie, these sets felt like a cash grab. They were simple, repetitive, and didn't offer much in terms of a building challenge. The Minions might be cute, but the sets were anything but impressive. It's like LEGO saw the success of the movies and thought, we need a piece of that, without really thinking about what makes a good LEGO set. Awkward. Minion sets typically included 200 to 400 pieces and featured minifigures and simple builds. Despite the popularity of the characters, the sets were criticized for their lack of creativity and complexity. So, there you have it. From bizarre animal people to overpriced plastic boxes, these are the most awkward LEGO sets ever made. Even when LEGO gets a bit lazy or misses the mark, we still love them. Sometimes because of, not in spite of, their quirks. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more LEGO adventures. And remember, even the most awkward sets have their charm. Happy building!